Hey everybody, welcome. I want to talk about a topic today that is not talked about often enough and probably a lot more prevalent in our society than we give it credit. And that is the topic of burnout, specifically job burnout. Or, as I'm going to talk about today, how not to burn out, right? Now, the best way I know how not to burn out in your work is to be doing work that is truly connected to your heart and your soul, connected to who you are. It's the work that you know you were created to do, right? It is just the thing that energizes and fires you up every day. And it gives you that motivation to jump in feet first, to work 14-hour days if you have to. And you thrive in that, okay? Now, that is the best way. Now, I'm not saying that you can't burn out if you are doing something that you love, because obviously you can. And I'm going to talk about the 6 things that you need to do. And if you're not doing those things, it could still lead to burnout. The second way I know how not to burn out is to show up to work as your true self. Now, what do I mean by that? I work with a lot of folks who are, seeking help in changing careers, transitioning, are not happy in their job, or they need to improve the performance in their job. They're wondering what their calling is, what they were created to do, and they're trying to find that, right? And what I've seen is that most individuals approach their job as their false self, right? And the false self is built on 3 things: what I have, what I do, and what others think of me. Or, more specifically, the expectations or opinions others have of me, right? And so what I mean by people take their false self to work is that they go into their job trying to do their job or do the work as they think their boss wants them to. Or they do the job or try to do their work in a way that they perceive the successful person does it, so they try to copy that. And they're not offering who they are and their gifts to the work that they do, okay? And so when you bring your true self to your work, your production is going to go up, which can lead to higher earnings, right? The increase in pay or the promotion. It's going to lead to an increase in satisfaction from what you do, because you're going to be more fulfilled offering your gifts. And it's going to lead to greater well-being, because, let's face it, you're not going to be under as much stress because you're going to be doing things that you love and doing it in the manner in which you were created to do. Now, those 2 things, you could still burn out in your work if you don't follow these next 6 things that I'm about to share with you. So, number 1 is know who you are and what makes you unique, right? And this is built on core values, okay? For example, knowing who you are and what makes you unique and offering that to the work that you do is vital to you experiencing less burnout in your work. Here's the thing. Values are important, because if your values don't connect with or correlate with the values of the work that you're doing, then there's probably going to be some conflict, and it's going to be hard for you to not burn out in that work. You're going to constantly be in an environment that is setting you up for stress, right? So let's say that your values, you don't believe in taking drugs or drinking alcohol, but you find yourself working in a nightclub as a bartender, and there's shady drug deals going down in the bathroom. Probably gonna lead to some stress in your life, and probably not a good place for work. I know that's an extreme example, but you get the point. Know who you are and what makes you unique, so that you can offer that to the work that you do. Number 2, set limits on what you will do and what you will not do. This is a boundaries component, okay? This is about the shape of yourself, the edges that you have. And when you exceed your limits, especially when you do them consistently, like let's say your limit is you can offer your energy and everything you have to your work for no more than 9 hours. 9 hours is your cutoff. But you're asked to constantly be working on projects that take you beyond that because of deadlines and all kinds of other things. Well, you're exceeding the limit that you have, and that's going to lead to you experiencing more stress and then obviously burnout, all right? So make sure that you know what your limits are, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you can also underextend your limits, right? If you know that you're good at, say, organization and organizing things and keeping things a good workflow, for example, and you're not spending time doing that, you're spending time sitting on the couch, watching Netflix, then you're probably going to experience some level of stress and some burnout as a result of not doing what you were created to do, okay? So, number 3, stay aware of how you show up. This is all about behavior. Behaviors are important because they are the windows into the motivators behind how we show up, right? When you are under stress, you're more likely to be reactive and unproductive, okay? So if you can remain aware of the fact that you are being unproductive and that you're reactionary and that you're under stress, then you can find out what it is about your environment or others that are not meeting your expectations or preferences so that you can get those needs met and therefore work on getting back to your best, most productive style or your usual behavior, okay? The behavior that is uniquely you, that you offer to your work and that makes work fun and that makes others around you enjoy being around you, right? So that's why it's important to stay aware of how you show up. It then leads to the next thing, which is understand what you need from your environment and others. When you are able to know what you need, what you expect, what you prefer, and you're in a situation or an environment where you're comfortable, then you are going to be showing up more as your usual behavior and therefore offering your gifts. If you are uncomfortable in your environment or uncomfortable around others and you are put under stress and you're eliciting stress behaviors, then you're going to have more likelihood of burning out, okay? So understanding what you need and making sure you're choosing an environment, a workplace that gives you what you need and expect and prefer, so that way you are showing up in a manner that is more productive and therefore less stressful. Number 5, focus on what you can control and take ownership for only that which is yours. So there's going to be things that arise at work. There's going to be stuff on the job that circumstantially you don't jive with, that you don't like. And that is important that you understand that what you offer to that situation comes from inside of you, okay? When you have self-control and you offer that which you can and you take ownership for only that which is yours, then you can then let the circumstance be or even take control of the circumstance. But when you focus on the circumstance and you're not offering who you are, you're not offering your gifts, and you're trying to take maybe some ownership or you're placing blame on others, okay, one or the other, and then that circumstance all of a sudden starts to take control of you. It starts to take power over you. It's going to cause stress. It's going to lead to anxiety and all kinds of other issues and therefore burnout, okay? So you got to focus on what you can offer a situation. Focus internally, what's going on inside of me, offer what you can, and take ownership for what is yours, okay? And then the last one here, stay connected. Community is so important. It is critical that you have the ability to share the load of what's going on with you at your work. And it doesn't have to be with people at work. Your community can be a group of friends that, you're just able to share the hardships and the struggles that you have in your work. And you just kind of get that out of you, right? It's like the teapot that steams. The steam's got to get out. If it didn't get out, the teapot would explode. So when the steam gets out, it's releasing, the valve is releasing that pressure. That's the same thing as having a community. Stay connected. Be sharing the things that are going on with you that you struggle with. And therefore, you're letting out some of the anxiety and the pressure that's going on within you. And you can then deal with stress more appropriately so that you don't burn out. Now, that's what I had to offer you today, of those 6 things, how you can show up as your true self to work. And it's built on this. This is the kind of hierarchy, if you will, of the process I just shared. Values are the foundation. You have to know who you are, what makes you unique, and what you would hold to if nobody else knew about it. When you can connect your values with what you do, and they are in alignment, you're going to have a much better chance of not burning out at work. Secondly, boundaries. You gotta give yourself some shape, right? So if you have a good foundation of a home, values, the framework of the home would be the boundaries. It gives it shape, right? Know your limits, what you are willing to do, what you're not willing to do, etc. Okay? And then on top of that is behaviors. Once we have good boundaries, we know what we will do and what we will not do. We need to know how we're showing up. We need to stay aware of how we're showing up. And then after that, the needs will give us kind of some insight into why our behavior is the way it is, and we can work to get those needs met. We can work to get our environment set up in a way that we prefer or expect. And then, of course, focusing on what we can offer a circumstance versus letting the circumstance take control of us. And then finally, staying connected with community and being in a place where you can share the load of the hardships and struggles of your work. That's how not to burn out. So I hope you found this valuable. I really enjoyed taking the time to shoot this quick video. And if you have any questions or you want to get engaged in a conversation, comment below. And as always, share this with those that you feel would need it, and hopefully it'll bring them some value as well. All right, thanks everybody. Peace.